Hey, welcome back to Off Centre. I'm sure that many of you have seen some of the big news this week about party politics, and that is the big headline maker that Reform UK is now the most popular political party in Great Britain, both in terms of polling, usually at about 30%, and membership. That is because Reform UK just this week broke 268,000 paid up members, which makes them more popular in terms of party membership than Labour. We'll be looking at the Greens membership, Reform's membership, the Tories, Labour, and we're going to be looking at why some of the big parties are dying and why smaller insurgent parties are growing at such a rapid pace, and whether or not this is a good thing. But we know for sure that the two-party political system looks pretty dead to me. So we've all seen Reform's massive explosion in the polls over the last, I would say, year and a half. And Reform have gone from having one MP, very little media coverage, and frankly, not a lot to say or do in terms of Parliament or press, to being the biggest party in the country, most certainly. They may only have 5 MPs of 650 available in the House of Commons. They may have only gotten their first peer in the House of Lords last week. But if you look at the mood around the country, as compared to the mood in Westminster, you will know that Reform are seeing the most success of any party by a very wide margin. Reform UK, at the moment, have just broken the Labour membership record, or the Labour's current membership stats, which were at around 265,000 members. Reform are now at 268 to 270,000 members, meaning they have just broken that record. And so, in terms of membership, they are Britain's largest party. But it's not just membership. If you look at polling, you'll see that on YouGov, Reform are polling at around 26 to 28%, which puts them above Labour and the Conservatives, normally by about 6%. If you look at Find Out Now, which I find to be slightly more reliable than YouGov in terms of polling, you will see that Reform are some 10 points ahead of the Conservatives, and at the moment, at least 16 points ahead of Labour. Labour have had a catastrophic fall-off, and their membership statistics show that. So let's have a look at Labour's members now. So, according to a Times leaked statistic, we can see that Labour's current membership statistics are sitting at around 250,000 people, roughly. Perhaps 250,000 to 260,000 members for the Labour Party. And that is compared to about this time last year, when the Labour Party had an astonishing 250,000 members, about 330,000 people. That means that they have lost tens of thousands of members. Dozens a day of people have left the Labour Party. Have they joined other parties? Have they just renounced their political affiliations and allegiances altogether? We don't quite know. But what we do know is that the Labour Party has seen a catastrophic fall-off in terms of members, hundreds being lost every week. We know that the Labour Party are suffering in the polls. They've gone from 40% in the polls 18 months ago down to 14% in the polls at the moment. And that's because the Labour Party are failing Britain everywhere. They're not delivering on migration. They're not delivering on the economy. They're not delivering on any of their core manifesto pledges, including lowering taxes, which just hasn't happened. The Labour Party are not delivering for the people of Great Britain, and they are being punished brutally in the polls and by their members for it. Not to mention the potential backbench revolt, which could result in Keir Starmer being ousted in the new year. But more on that in another video. But what we can most certainly tell from the most recent statistics that indicate party membership, Labour are in a very, very bad spot. Not just with the general public, but also with their members. Then we've got one more very interesting detail to add in terms of party membership. At the end of September, just before Zach Polanski was elected leader of the Green Party, the Greens had about 70,000 members. Now, as of the 9th of December, The Green Party have an astonishing 180,000 paid up members, which means that in just a few months, following the election of Zach Polanski, the Greens have managed to almost double their membership, which is an astonishing feat. It's a little bit like what Reform have done, but on a slightly smaller scale. And it is remarkably impressive. Now, I don't know about you, but I have massive problems with the Green Party. Their policy for illegal migration, which is basically let all the people from Calais come over safely and then work, is a terrible idea and simply isn't practical at all. Their policies on defence, such as surrendering our nuclear arsenal and leaving NATO, would be an appalling betrayal of our national sovereignty. They want to betray our sovereignty, our defence, our borders. Nothing in the Green Manifesto seems to make sense, but yet they're growing. And why is that, you might ask? Why, of course, it's because they are offering a huge alternative to the Labour Party. They're offering someone like Zach Polanski, who is, of course, deeply idiotic, and perhaps, I would argue, very naive as well, but also someone who's quite dynamic, someone who sounds like a breath of fresh air. Even if what he's saying is total garbage, you want to believe it because he's not Keir Starmer and he's not a Labour Party member. The Labour Party have let down this country. They've let down their members. The backbench are furious with them. The only people that hate the Labour Party more than the general public are their members. And perhaps that's why the Green Party are having so much success. Because the Greens have realised that they can capitalise off Labour's failings by just going out and being further to the left on the Greens on basically every issue. And that's precisely what they've done. The Greens have decided that what they're going to do is, if the Labour Party are going to be slightly more hard on migration, they're going to enforce a couple more restrictions, the Green Party are going to say, throw open the borders, we want everyone coming in. If the Labour Party say they're going to an extent, agree with the Supreme Court on its rulings surrounding biology in terms of trans rights, then the Green Party are going to say, you know what, so long as you identify as a woman, you're a woman. They are going to go to the absolute extreme in terms of left-wing issues just to try and counteract Labour, because they know that it's pretty embarrassing at the moment to say, I'm a Labour supporter, I'm a Labour member, because Labour are doing such an appalling job. People would much rather say, I'm a Green Party member, but we're nothing like Labour, we're much further to the left. And in the current modern political climate of Britain, it is much better to say that you're a left-wing radical, like some of the people who vote Green and are Green Party members, than saying I'm a moderate member of the Labour Party. Because the Labour Party are making such a catastrophic mess of Britain in basically every sense of the meaning of making a mess. On every facet that they could possibly be failing on, they are failing. From the border to taxation to the economy, everything is going wrong for Labour right now. And the Green Party aren't offering any serious solutions. Letting everyone in from Calais who wants to come in and then letting them work is not a serious solution. That isn't practical. Leaving NATO isn't practical. Surrendering our nuclear arsenal isn't sane, safe, or practical. But the Green Party are still interested in doing it. And it's these big, bold, radical, extreme messages that they are putting out there that are drawing and bringing in greater membership. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? The fact that more extreme messaging, whether it's from Reform UK or from the Green Party, is bringing in members. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Tell us in the comments. But I would have to say that it is an indictment on the modern state of Britain that the centre ground simply cannot deliver. The people are looking for radical parties with radical solutions to solve very serious problems in Great Britain. Whether that's in the form of Green or Reform, we certainly know which parties are growing and which parties are dying. See you next video.